The following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm holding my bladder. Let's get at her. Okay.
Program the computer. We create a mental atmosphere.
Fear not, my friends. This will be my greatest performance.
Give it to me.
Here we go. We came, we saw, we kicked it.
Oh, we sure did. Good morning. It's your weekend morning tea. Mornings on the Beach is on the air. My name is Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
I'm Melanie Ray.
And today on the show, a new California law is coming for your corn tortillas.
What?
Uh-oh, look out.
We'll tell you about that coming
Please
up.
are focused on important things.
And we're going to be talking to some news reporters, newscasters, and we're going to be talking to a songwriter. All kinds of stuff coming up on the show.
Right on.
We got somebody special that you've invited to join us today.
Yes, Nashville artist, singer-songwriter Aaron Lee Tasjan, who's done a lot of stuff, collaborated with a lot of people, and he did something this week that is really shows what an artist can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me about it. And Melanie's here, having survived another
incident.
Could somebody please remove the curse?
I know. Tell me about
Melanie.
it. I'm here, though.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here.
And we hope you are too. And the first person we're going to usher on to the show this morning, you probably heard his voice in your car if you listen to the news in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a longtime radio journalist here. And he's also a Long Beach resident, so I want to get to know him. He's been on my Facebook feed, and I feel like we feel the same way about some of the current issues. So welcome to the show, Rob Archer. Good morning.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Depends on the day.
Anything
Give me
happening
another
in the
question.
news right now?
Yeah, right. You know, speaking of news, too, you've been a radio reporter. Tell me about your career. Where did it start?
Well, I got started in radio more than 45 years ago.
Like us.
I was still in high school. I was taking a nap on the couch. My dad kicked me awake, as he is wont to do, and said that, hey, you're old enough to pay rent. And I said, okay. And I went back to sleep. And then as I was sleeping, I was thinking, I guess that means I have to get a job. So I lined up two possible jobs. One was at the drugstore, working in the stockroom, moving heavy boxes around. The other was sitting in a little radio studio and playing country music off of scratched 45 RPM records. And so I picked that one.
Yeah, good call.
And then I just, after I graduated, I kind of stayed with that, and then moved to LA in 1999, worked on K-Big, and then wound up at KFI doing news, and then went on to KNX doing news up until June, when I got caught in the corporate downsizing.
Yeah, that's a tough time over there, man. A lot has been changing over in radio news. Can you talk about that, or do you just sign an NDA?
I do have an agreement with Odyssey that I think is running out pretty soon, but that's a moot point because I don't have anything bad to say about Odyssey.
Yeah.
I know people have complaints about, every radio company that you work for, and I did not have any other problems than anybody else in this business has ever had. Right. I was very sad to be the one, fingered in the latest round of layoffs because I felt like, why me? Why not that guy who sucks?
Yeah. Fair question.
And having gone through that ourselves, we're thinking, when you're doing this for every single day and then you stop doing it, where do you put that energy? Like for you?
Well, I've had a Substack for a while. It's called Archer's Line at therobarcher.com. Free plug. And so I poured a lot of energy into that, and I find myself doing it more and more because I miss doing that. Yeah. And one of the reasons I love being in radio is because I love talking into a microphone, and that's it. That everything circles out from there.
Yeah.
Right.
So is there an audio element to your Substack?
Yes, I do voiceover reads for each article I publish. I also make promo videos for it. And I'm thinking about doing maybe some video reads to go along with the articles. Also looking at some podcasts. I may team up with a former colleague from KNX that we used to work together. I can't say too much about it right now because we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do it. But we might bring something back that would go, let's say, in depth. into what's happening in the world.
That was a hint.
That would be so awesome.
I figure podcasting is such a rarefied business that
I wish.
Many other podcasts. I think there's only 3 or 4 per human being alive.
It's funny because we talk about the state of news and what passes for it now. Because as I flip through my feed, I'm thinking to myself, why is the fact that this star was on The Masked Singer, why is that news?
Right.
And why about a young lady who likes a different flavor of cherry ice cream? Why is that news?
Why do we have podcasters in government?
And the same thing with podcasting. Everybody now has an opinion which can be heard. So it becomes this thing where people are talking, just about what they feel.
Right.
And some people are representing it as you need to know this because it's news, and it's not really.
Well, they're presenting their feelings as facts.
How do you feel about what's happened to you over the years? Has it changed the style of what you do? Have you had to resist it?
I think it's part of a thing that's been going on for a long, long time, long before internet streaming, podcasting, and everything. It started way back when news division suddenly got umbrellaed under the entertainment divisions at networks, and all of a sudden they had to get ratings. Whereas before, the news was seen as we have an important duty to inform the citizenry of this country. And now it became we have to get ratings and sell products. And so when you do that, you have to focus in on stories that get more ratings and then move on to the era of the internet and streaming and podcasting. Now it's what appeals to the algorithm. Now, you said that, now everybody has an opinion that can be heard, and that is very true. But what breaks through the algorithm? Something crazy. Something insane.
You're right.
President Trump is a lizard from another planet. So I'm going to get attention for that now because it breaks through and the algorithm rewards me. And even though I know that's BS, I have an investment to be made in promoting that idea now. So I got to keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's been crazy. And I know you said you didn't have any opinions about Odyssey. Well, how do you feel about CBS? That whole thing recently.
CBS, when CBS owned KNX, I was proud to work for CBS because that was the home of Edward R. Murrow, who was God to me. And but now with what's going on, I think once again, it all goes back to money. Corporations got to make money. They got to make more and more profit for the shareholders. You can't make the same money you made last year. You have to make more now. And to do that, you have to accede to the powers that be. In this case, powers that be are exercising that influence and no, you be friendly to us or we won't approve your deal.
Right.
And so now you have big networks having to kind of, as much as they can, kowtow to the current administration and in effect become state media. We don't want to offend the leader.
Exactly.
We have to report what we report, like in Russia and North Korea. And that's bad for everybody.
Well, here at KLBP, we belong to resistance media, right? Because we're going to keep saying it until they come after us. And, given the last couple of months, they just might.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. But in the state of, of news today, what's her name? Barry Weiss? Yes, over at CBS.
Oh, yeah.
When that was announced, I thought my opinion that I just mentioned a few minutes ago about everybody's got an opinion because she's an opinions kind of publisher or a promoter.
Right.
That's where she comes from, her background. And now that matters, in a sense. I don't know. That to me, that the whole thing about the Tiffany Network just went right down the drain when they announced her, Barry Weiss. But again, it's the state of what's going on in radio news today.
America.
I can't say that I agree with you. Because I can't say that I agree with you.
That's so funny.
Noted.
My horoscope today said you could be on the wrong side of the issue. So keep quiet.
That's
perfect for taping day. Yes. But we're training young journalists here as well. And I was walking the dog last night thinking the one thing that we do well here is expose people to a medium that most people think is dying, but is still very active. And I get a lot of my hit from teaching young students how to do it. And so that's one of the things we appeal to people, especially broadcasters that are no longer working. Come and help us teach the next generation. Hint, hint. Come and join us over here.
I'll be there. The first thing I teach kids is, hey, pants are optional.
He'll fit right in.
It's radio.
And I can't see what he's wearing because he's on screen. But it's one of those things that I believe when we have a young journalist learning how to create a small newscast or do an investigative reporting, it's so exciting to me that there's still people that want to do it. And, I find them in education. They're going to school, much like we did when we wanted to get into this business. What do you have coming up next? Are you continuing to look for more work, or are you going to expand in your own personal territory?
There are some possibilities coming down the pipeline. I think something is about to happen, and I can't say anything at all about it because I am under an NDA on that. But if it happens, probably will be making an announcement in the next couple of weeks. And of course, I don't leave out the possibility that I might wind up back at stations that I've already worked for on a part-time basis, which I'd be happy to do because I love doing what I do. This is not only is it important to me, it fulfills me in a way. To first of all, it was just being on the radio and talking about the music I was playing, and then as I transferred into news, that became the thing. I like telling people and explaining to people what's going on so that they can understand. And my philosophy has always been be direct, be simple, not because you're dumbing it down, but because you are talking to people listening to the radio who are probably driving a car. You don't want to get too complicated in your language. You want to use simple words because the whole idea is to get them to understand what you were talking about.
Right.
We definitely need you over here to help us train our young interns. That would be
Yeah.
awesome for them to learn from a master such as yourself. Give your website out again so people can find your Substack.
It's called Archer's Line at therobarcher.com, and you can hear my voice on there, and sometimes we put some podcasts up on that site as well.
That's fantastic.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
And I'm intrigued by looking at all the CDs he's got in his office behind him.
So vintage.
Physical media at all times.
And a guitar. Are you a player?
Absolutely. I've been playing since I was a kid.
Oh, wow. We got to get you on here live to do a song for us. That would be awesome. That'd be great. Long Beach resident and long-term journalist Rob Archer has been with us. So thank you for coming on the show today and accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
All right, time for a little music. I'm having.
What now?
Put that on the reel. It's time for a little music here.
Oh, no, what?
Tell you what, let's listen to some new music from the Hives. Enough is enough.
Well said. I got to say, Mornings on the Beach, your weekend entertainment and infotainment right here. I'm Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
Melanie Ray?
And if you've been watching television lately,
I'm sorry.
sorry. Or if you've been reading, especially if you've been reading the Long Beach Post lately, you've been seeing some great stories. And so we decided to reach out once again to the source. And John Donegan is here with us in studio. Welcome to the show again.
Happy to be here.
Well, it sounds like you've been a busy person over there at the Long Beach Post because every time I open up my tablet, there's another article about something I want to talk about on the show.
Yeah.
So Monday morning, I opened it with Monday Morning Coffee with Long Beach Post, and there it is, an article about our amphitheater. Oh, we talked about it on the show, so we thought, let's get John back in. Give us an update about what you're reporting on.
Yeah, no, it was a fun start to the year and a great update to go over the weekend. So as you know, the city announced basically a year ago today, or a year ago as of, I think, next week, during the last State of the City address, that part of their big announcement was they are going to be moving forward with a waterside coastal amphitheater. This is going to be a spectacle, a 10-year temporary amphitheater that will bring some of the world's biggest acts to Long Beach. And, based on its success, would open the door for a permanent amphitheater as a way to, offset the declines in oil valuations and find a new way to make money. And, as it's been pitched, do so in a way that is in line with the city's music history, with its identity as a place of entertainment, by the sea. So, problem is, costs are going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone got so excited when it was announced, right? And then we got even more excited when we saw Motley Crue tickets were on sale.
Yeah.
And
wait, I'm showing my age here. Who did that song?
You seem young to
Toto.
me.
Africa, Toto. Yeah.
Yeah, you are young. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your reporting seems to sound like that might not happen as early as they thought it would.
So, we've done some reporting over the past year that has shown the project, as projects go, especially something like this. There's been delays with the project. I think it's been pushed back 3 or 4 times. I think a total maybe 6 months passed. It was actually supposed to already have been built, I think, by now.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
With the idea that it would start taking on acts in the spring. Obviously, that didn't happen. They pushed it back to, I think, finishing in the summertime with, is it Toto? Okay. Again, show me age.
Toto.
Show me
Toto,
age.
Christopher Cross is one of the shows, and then Motley Crue and
Yeah.
a bunch of other metal bands.
With them rolling out in the fall.
I knew this. Yeah. Well, first of all, when we first talked about it, we kind of said, "Well, we'll see."
Yeah, right.
So we're right, but I don't want.
I think Long Beach
be
collectively was saying, "Yeah, we'll see."
Yeah,
about
We'll
this."
see
sure.
about that.
And
I drove by this morning, dropping my sister off at the terminal cruise, and I got a look at the gated area that they're proposed for the amphitheater.
Yeah.
It don't look big enough. It doesn't. I mean, I know they fit stuff into small spaces.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. And once again, there's just a fence. Not even the parking lot's been dug up yet. It's still there, but
So many questions about it right now.
Yeah.
I know parking and ride share, and then they mentioned that there's going to be ride share and water taxis, getting people in and out because it's such a small space to get thousands of people in and out in a timely fashion so we don't miss the show. They haven't really been addressed yet. They've touched on it in city council meetings, and the mayor has kind of taken broad strokes in describing what that will look like. I think Bo Martinez, head of economic development here, hopefully I'm not wrong there, has, again, vague, broad, sweeping statements about what it'll look like, just basically saying it will work, trust us. Whether people want to believe that, it's up to them. So beyond delays, beyond the fact that you go there right now, there's been virtually no construction done.
Nothing.
We've heard rumors that they have brought stuff out, and that they have the grandstands and that they are going to be putting stuff together. They will be having a groundbreaking ceremony next week. More than likely, will be part of the sizzle reel that they put together for the state of the city.
You know what?
Later that day.
You mentioned the grandstands. Now I know what was in those 8 container tanks that are sitting in the parking lot. Those are the grandstands, most likely.
Yep. I think those came over a couple weeks ago. We got tipped off that they were being brought over, and we tried to, go over there, and they didn't give clearance for us to come by. So
You're the press.
I know.
How
God,
dare they?
God forbid.
But
It's almost like they don't like us. But you asked about costs, and so there was a document attached to the city council agenda for Tuesday that talked about the rising costs. Originally a $14 million project, they're now looking at about $21.3 million. Most of that, they're saying, is for recommended changes to the original plan proposed by the manager of it, the newly formed. It was ASM Global. I think it is Legends Global or Global Legends.
Yeah, I think we better put some seats in here and maybe some stairs for people. We
gonna
didn't
be
put that in the
Premium
plan.
sections, premium seating, basically saying, well, if we were the ones building this, we would add this. And so they're taking those recommendations. The city has said, well, we're taking their advice on this because we think this is a better way to make money. You make money through premium seating. If they say you should spend $4 more million on premium seating and associated acts, we're going to do it. And so, and then they also are saying about $2.2 million in extra construction that wasn't realized before. And bear in mind, they've already spent about $4 million using the existing $14 million budget on unforeseen emergency utility work under the ground.
Oh.
No one saw that coming, right?
So they haven't even started yet. Never mind.
Yeah. So the question is now, what was approved on Tuesday is that a plan that will essentially borrow money from the existing Tidelands Fund and pay it off over the course of the lifespan of the amphitheater. I can't remember how many years it'll take, they expect.
They said 7 years before they make a profit.
Yeah. So because there are various debts they expect to incur. And so in what might be misleading in some media outlets is the difference between net profit and actual profit. They can post their net profit, but how much money the place actually makes is only a couple $1 million through its lifespan. And that's as of right now, if nothing else happens.
And that's as of right now when they haven't even started yet. Right?
So
That's
do
a
you
mess.
make it a habit of being at the city council meetings to find out what's going on?
Love
or-
it, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, every time.
What a strange person.
I'm going to say the same
But
thing.
you
My
found
girlfriend hates it. So don't worry.
you found about something else that it warmed my heart. And it's a story called World Famous VIP Records Sign will now have a new home at a city park to be named in its honor.
Sweet.
Yes.
This
Yep.
is sweet.
Yeah, we've been following this for a while now, just kind of waiting to see when this would come back up. We had gone to an event that Kelvin and his family put on sometime, I don't remember what it was last year, but he actually, someone else brought like Snoop Dogg up on video call to say a few words.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
there is a lot of momentum around doing something for the record store to enshrine its identity on that street and give it more than it has right now. It's as it is now. Like, I'm not ripping on the record store, but the space it has doesn't fit the history behind it. And frankly, the family deserves a lot more. Yeah. And I think the city is starting to realize that. There's been a big push to essentially enshrine the park across the street
Right on the corner there.
as a park, as a VIP records park that can be used for community events that Mr. Anderson puts on or the city puts on. There's a sub-licensing agreement there to where if they're
going to pay for the sign, right?
Yeah, the city will pay. Sorry, I'm kind of going out of order here. The city will pay for the sign, pay for the renovations, up to I think just shy of $250,000. I don't know how much renovations they would need to do, so I imagine that it will fit within the budget.
It'll go fine.
And then they'll install the sign, and then I think from there the city will pay the record store. I think $170,000 total, basically to license the sign out there, basically just to have it there. So it is a win-win for the record store, and I'm sure that Mr. Anderson is definitely happy.
Putting a marker down in the city that needs to be there. In 1980, we were calling them from Hollywood to find out what people were buying here in Long Beach, so we could add those records or pay attention to them. And there's one specific one I'll never forget, and it was Cool in the Gang. And it was Kelvin who called the station and said, "You got to hear this record. I just sold 82 copies on Saturday of this record." And it was Cool in the Gang Celebration. And that went on Kiss FM the next day because of that information. He was perfect for that. I mean, keeping a finger on the pulse of what people were buying.
Few people are more Long Beach than Kelvin Anderson.
I love
and
it.
I think in the next coming years, because he's not young and none of us are getting younger, I think there is going to be a push to memorialize him and his legacy in a proper way. I know that the record store has been pushing pretty heavily to transition into a museum, or at least build out a museum and a live music center. We did a story sometime last year that talked about that and kind of his vision for that. And he'd love to have eventually, whether through private investment, if anybody's listening, or like any other avenue, a museum that has live music, live events, a live DJ.
Oh, yeah. And a radio
that
station.
celebrates Long Beach and the record store. So.
That would be awesome. And let's hope he gets that support, especially with the mayor so focused on the musical legacy of Long Beach.
Yeah.
So right there is a good station. Anyway, we got a lot more. We'll have you come back when we find out when Planet Books finds a new home. Right, I read that article just today.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll keep our tabs on it. But thank you for coming down and sharing with us today.
Always
John
a pleasure.
Donegan from the Long Beach Post.
Thank you.
And if you want to look him up, you can. All I do is subscribe to the Long Beach Post, and you'll get it every day in your email.
Right.
So do that.
Get Monday morning coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. And if we can talk him into doing it live on the air, that would be so awesome, wouldn't it be? A coffee clatch on Monday mornings from your offices. It's Mornings on the Beach. Time for some music.
How about some Guns N' Roses? Brand new music, and it's called Nuttin'. All right, that's Guns N' Roses and a new song called Nuttin'.
It didn't sound like nothing from the Guns N' Roses, but it...
Hey, we got something special now. Our next guest watched the Venezuela situation.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it is easy for me to say. As we all did, but within a couple of days, there was a fully produced, amazing song about the situation. Aaron Lee Tasjan Do the songs always come that quickly?
Welcome to the show.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I'm just trying to figure out a way to break the Jesse Wells songwriting barrier,
There
if
you go.
at all
Yeah.
possible. It's a mountain to climb for sure, but yeah, I'm doing my best. But I think sometimes we have those very immediate reactions to immediate emotional responses to things that we see, going on in the world. And a lot of times, I think when it comes especially to, issues where morality and human nature are involved, oftentimes your first instinct does tend to be the correct one. If something feels like injustice, or it might be happening for maybe not the best reasons, the response to that can be pretty immediate. And I think a lot of people seem to, that I was seeing weigh in on social media, seem to feel the same way that I did about it. And that song just kind of came out, and I put it up, not really as an attempt to release a song or anything like that, just because I thought maybe it might help somebody that needed to hear something like that in the moment. And
well, I was amazed.
I think as artists, that's the best we can do sometimes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I was amazed. First of all, it's something that when the next war pops up, it'll apply to that as well. But you talk about Jesse Wells. He goes out into a field and strums a guitar. You produced it. You put it together like it was a full studio piece.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, I really don't know why I did it that way. I just think I felt compelled to, kind of maybe put something together that wouldn't necessarily only live on the internet as a video. Not knocking that format at all. It's obviously, a way that we all have to sort of get along in the world at this point. But I do think that one of the things that is special about music, is that you can kind of take a song anywhere with you, even if it's just in your head, But I wanted to create something, that could live outside of just that world on your phone, of little videos that we watch every day. And so maybe a bit of the intention behind creating a whole track for it kind of came from that.
Okay, you're going to be coming out here and doing some shows on the West Coast. You don't come out here a lot, but we're going to talk about those dates in a minute. And I would also ask you to maybe consider being on my other show, which is a full hour-long. Sorry.
Hey, quit scalping our guests.
Hey, I booked the guest.
Oh, good point.
Anyway, and we'll cover more things on the LA Radio Session show down the line if you're willing to do it down the line.
Absolutely.
Aaron has spent a lot of time collaborating with other musicians. Recently producing the great Todd Snider's album. I want to talk about your work with Todd, but first I'd like to dive into the distant past and talk about your roughly a year with the legendary New York Dolls.
Oh, wow.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2009. And I had a band in New York called Semi Precious Weapons that Tony Visconti produced.
Okay.
And through Tony and our then manager, who was an amazing rock and roll character by the name of B.P. Fallon, who was Derek Taylor's press assistant at Apple Records in the 1960s. And so we knew of BP, who had actually managed a portion of Johnny Thunder's solo career post the New York Dolls. And BP got Tony Visconti to produce us. And through all of that, I kind of came to know some of the guys in the Dolls a little bit, and including Steve Conti, who was playing the Johnny Thunders role in the New York Dolls at the time. And he and his wife were having their first child, and Steve called me up and asked me if I could maybe fill in for him for a little bit while the band had a tour while he and his wife were at home with their new baby. And I was a massive fan, massive Dolls fan, so I was more than happy to do that. And I learned, I think, 35 New York Dolls songs. And I showed up to a rehearsal space in Midtown Manhattan, and David Johansen came in, and we would play about a verse and a chorus of one of the songs, and then David would stop the whole band and say, "Sounds good, let's do the next one." And we did, you know, probably only about maybe 10 or 15 songs, and he felt satisfied. And then met those guys at JFK Airport the next day, and we got on a flight and flew to South America.
Wow.
And played some shows in soccer stadiums with the B-52s.
That's great. That's great. Listen, I know that you and others who were Todd Snyder collaborators like Elizabeth Cook and Chuck Mead have been making the radio and podcast rounds paying tribute to Todd. I know that group was a tight-knit team based on a lot of things there's a movie out and all sorts of other things. Has doing the radio and podcast tributes served to help you cope with the loss of your friend?
You know, I was just thinking about that this morning because, of course, last night there's a wonderful public radio station here in Nashville, Tennessee called WMOT Roots Radio, 89.5 on your FM dial. And
we're buddies with Anna Lee.
Oh yeah, man! I love Anna Lee. She does the Local Brew, which is such an important show.
In fact, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Anna Lee is out here right now because I worked with her at KNAC, which was the heavy metal station here in LA, and we're having a 40th anniversary this week, and she's part of that. So she's out here now. That's probably why you didn't see her at WMOT.
Well, please tell her I said hello, because she is just the coolest.
She is. She's awesome.
I am such a Anna Lee fan, man.
Okay. So anyway, you did WMOT.
Yeah, we did a little tribute to Todd last night. A songwriter round with myself and Hayes Carl and Elizabeth Cook and the great Chuck Mead from BR 549. And it wasn't easy to do, you know. It was like so many of those kinds of concerts that you're having when you've lost a beloved member of your community. Yeah. You're kind of looking out into the crowd and you're seeing, a lot of emotion there, and it can be a really tough room to read in terms of what to say in between songs, but luckily when you're there with people like Hayes Carl and Elizabeth Cook, who are just a never-ending Rolodex of amazing one-liners and beautiful really funny but heartfelt sentiment, you can't really go wrong. So I thought this morning about how much, as challenging as it was for me to do that, how much it also helped me to do that and to be there in community with those people who also knew and loved and worked with Todd, and hear all the treasured memories that they have of him, and it helped me to understand how much I'm not alone in my grief for the loss of my dear friend and mentor. So yes, and to make a very long answer even longer. Yes.
Okay.
It's been helpful.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I'm going to get you on my show at some point. I'll get back with you on that, and we'll talk about all sorts of things, including the great album that you just released last year. Absolutely fantastic. But let's talk about the West Coast dates. What do you got? What do you got going? And it's coming up soon, right?
It sure is. Yeah. At the end of this month, I'll be coming out. We're starting on the 21st of January in Pioneer Town at the Great Pappy and Harriet's.
I'm wearing a Pioneer Town T-shirt right
awesome.
now.
She
I'd like to
is.
point out. I love Pappy and Harriet's. I mean, a Pappy and Harriet shirt. And I love Todd Snyder.
Yeah, me too. And then, yes, the 22nd, I will be at the Wayfarer in Costa Mesa. And then on the 23rd, I will be playing at McCabe's Guitar Shop in
awesome.
Santa Monica,
Great
California.
venue. Great venue.
Great spot. And then we are going to head north after that, all the way up to the town of Healdsburg, where I will play a really cool listening room called Little Saint. And then we are sold out for our show in Petaluma. So if you were hoping to make it to that one, we hope to see you next time.
That's awesome.
Congratulations on that.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah.
do this, and we'd like to have you introduce the song.
Oh, yay.
That we're
yeah.
we're about to play that you just came up with in the last. It's art, instant art, as I like to say, and you created it. Tell us, introduce the song.
Yeah, this is Aaron Lee Tasjan, and you're listening to my new song, Big Business.
Every damn war is big business. Kaboom, ka-ching, it's a terrible thing. Every damn war is big business. The children bear witness as the gunshots ring. Somebody tell me please, make it make sense. Fighting for peace. If God came down and took a look around with your reasons to kill, put God at ease. Every damn war is big business. Kaboom, ka-ching, it's a terrible thing. Every damn war is big business. Don't leave a witness, let the freedom ring. Anyone show us how killing people for profit is worth it now. History's shown us time and again how the heroes of the battles never quite win. Every war is big business. Kaboom, ka-ching, it's a terrible thing. Every big bomb that we set off is another cost that we can't swing. It ain't too late to lay the rifles down, fall in love and hit the town. All the money you spend on death machines could make a beautiful garden where we all could eat. Every damn war is big business. Kaboom, ka-ching, it's a terrible thing. Every soldier in the company is somebody's baby in the guillotine. Every damn war is big business. Kaboom, ka-ching, it's a terrible thing. Every damn war is big business. The children bear witness as the gunshots ring.
As Melanie said, it's what artists do, right? They
Right.
respond, and that
And
song
thank God
is so
for it,
great.
man.
timely. Isn't that something else? It's a Mornings on the Beach for your Saturday, Sunday infotainment. Danny Lemos right here.
Mike Stark.
Melanie Ray.
And I put this story on the docket because I really wanted to see Melanie's fur go up. And this
Right, I'm already pissed off. We haven't even started talking about it.
This one's from NPR, and it's a story. The Pentagon will begin review of effectiveness of women in ground combat positions. Is there anything that could be more sexist from this administration?
Well, yeah, the quote from Pete Hegseth.
What did he say?
He says, I'm straight up saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal. It's made fighting more complicated. What he means by complicated is that now I have to think about my behavior around women.
Right, exactly.
Right? That I need to treat these humans as equals. And what's interesting, too, is it says, and sometimes I know NPR tries to be neutral, but I get frustrated. It says that during his confirmation hearing, he softened his stance. No, that means he lied. He lied so he'd be confirmed. He didn't soften his stance. Yeah. And then later, the further quote says that women soldiers need to meet the highest male order of combat. The highest male? Really? Mediocre white man.
Why don't they just meet him? I mean, he's got no experience and he's got no...
Well, you know, it reminded me, Brody, the guest we had a while ago, when he was talking about having been a female firefighter. And when women had the right to join the New York Fire Department, it used to just be you had to meet this standard to be a firefighter. But then when women came in, they changed it so that they would have to take the top so many of the physical, of the firefighters. So that was just another way to eliminate women. Why are you so afraid of us? That's what I want to say.
That's a good question. What engendered this response from him? And when we've got so much else going on in the world at the moment, he comes out with this.
And you have women who are willing to die for their country, and they're still not good enough for you.
I get it. And it's not the only thing that came out of this administration. You also saw the rewriting of history this past week, right?
Yeah.
Here we are at the anniversary of the January 6th revolt. Let's call it what it was. And most of the world remembers. However, our president decides that you're going to forget. If he tells you it differently, you're going to remember it differently. That's not the case. And thank God for NPR.
It's
National
the case
Public
for his
Radio.
cult.
That's true. But National Public Radio decided, you know what, we got a lot of resources at our fingertips. So they've set up a January 6th archive where they put together all the reporting, the video, the documents, and the testimony to show what really happened during the Capitol riot.
That's public media for you.
You can find it at npr.org/J6 archive. And I recommend, if you especially have kids and you want to tell them about what really happened.
You want to tell them the
country.
truth.
Yeah. And that's becoming harder to parse nowadays.
Right.
And it's actually getting kind of scary.
It's terrifying.
When you think about what kids will learn.
Well, administration has already sent a list of, I forget how many hundreds of words that public schools are not supposed to use.
Yeah, one of them should be Hegseth. The other one should be Trump. Forget that.
It's, we're here, folks.
Yeah, we're here. And I mentioned at the top of the show, California laws, right? New California laws that have gone into existence. Obviously, our minimum wage went up, right, here in this country. But again, the problems you're hearing from people that run restaurants is how much harder it's making them to keep their restaurants open.
Yeah.
And if you start looking around, stuff's starting to close down. A lot of restaurants that I went to 5 years ago, they're no longer around.
Yeah.
And so there's that.
It hasn't been this bad since the last Republican president.
Yeah, well,
which was Trump, and then the one before him.
There we go. But there is a new law in the books regarding tortillas. I don't know if you know about this.
Thank goodness for that.
Yes. This is a new law will take effect requiring most tortillas and corn masa products sold in California to contain folic acid, a vitamin that's important to infant health.
Oh.
And apparently, yes, it is. Apparently, get it early enough, it reduced birth defects up to 70%. That's right.
Spina bifida. That was the cause of spina bifida.
Yeah.
Which you don't see anymore. But, it's still early in the administration. It might be back.
But there's a lot of folks that are now in this whole craze, the food craze of homemade tortillas, even in the restaurants, homemade tortillas, which are exempt from this folic acid.
Oh.
So if you make your own tortillas at home from flour, or if you go to a restaurant that makes them homemade, they won't have it in there. But most products that are being sold now will have that in it. And again, it's for our mothers and to safeguard their pregnant children.
Excellent.
So there's some things that go on that are actually still taking care of us. But
California,
It doesn't that feel, Melanie? That's the right sound effects.
I have nothing left. It's either that or swear.
Yeah. It's tough to get up in the morning, right? And
absolutely.
And when I noticed that Rob Archer, who was here early in the show, he posts also that dread that we all feel, and it's nice to hear people that examine life actually saying this is important. Yeah. And you got to remember that whatever is going on around you, it's not you.
Right.
You are observing it.
Right.
You are not it. So don't think you're part of this problem.
Well, and
or in the middle of this.
They're gaslighting the entire nation, which is the problem. You know, I saw an interview, I don't even remember who the spokeshole was, but they were saying, what do you say to Americans who were saying that there's an affordability problem? And he said, stop listening to the media. They're telling you that.
Yeah.
No, and so it's just a gaslighting of a nation, and you're not alone. Keep listening to KLBP.
And she makes a good point because it's starting to get fewer and fewer sources.
Absolutely.
We're not being told what to say to you on this radio station ever. We don't take public money so that we don't have to prescribe to Donald Trump and his level of madness.
Well, and this woman who was just murdered in Minnesota, some news networks are already calling her a terrorist, and she was killed by masked, armed men, and they're calling her a terrorist.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening in the, in the government-run media.
The immediacy of people who were there and took video.
Yeah.
Immediately disproving what they were saying,
Absolutely.
which was they were driving at the cops. No, they weren't. Yeah. Her wheels were turned away from them.
It's interesting because people are, you have to compare this to the Nazi, that goes over and over again and that, and all that situation. But a friend of mine keeps saying, well, it's a little different than that because of that very thing. That there is proof of what's actually going down on the ground, and even though you'll never see it in Fox, it's online, it's all over, it's viral. So they're not gonna prosecute this guy because it would set a dangerous precedent. But that video of him murdering her will exist from every angle. And I saw one today of a doctor who was trying to get to her after the shooting, and they wouldn't let him go.
I saw that.
Yeah,
he said, "Let me check her pulse. Let me check her pulse," and they pushed him away.
Right.
So I just want to say though, that there's the age-old maxim, truth will out. And we lived through this before, 4 years of this madness. And we'll live through this, hopefully, less than 4 years madness. But we'll make it out the other side. If you're listening today, take that message with you. And take a walk in nature.
There you go.
That's the way to do it.
Go hug your friend.
Yeah, there you go.
It feels really good.
Or your dog.
Your dog.
He don't care.
Yeah.
As long as there's food on the table, he don't care. I'll tell you, we got to say goodbye for another weekend here. For Mornings on the Beach, I'm Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
Melanie Ray.
And take us out with...
And this is a great song with the positive message you just left us with, Danny. This is Robert Plant, brand new music from him, and it's a beautiful day today.
Ándale pues.